Joining us here fresh back from Augusta National is a man who gave us a nice little heads up a couple weeks ago that the Tiger Woods return to competitive golf and at the Masters was definitely not nothing. And he now joins us after Scottie Scheffler slips on the green jacket from the worldwide leader in sports, a fellow Best Studio Host nominee for the Emmy Award, Scott Van Pelt. How are you doing, SVP?
I'm well, and congrats, by the way, on that nomination. It's always nice to be included on that list, and sincerely humbling and all that. So that's nice of you to say, and congrats. And I'll see you in New York, I hope.
Right back at you. Although that was not the sentiment you told Ernie Johnson on the text exchange we all had privately that I'm now bringing public, Scott.
Yeah, I said I hate Ernie Johnson. I said, wait, did I send this to everyone?
Yeah, you replied to all.
We obviously knew what we were doing. Ernie's one of the kindest, gentlest, most wonderful souls in the world, and we all hate him because he wins every year. Let's just call it what it is.
Not to put too fine a point on it. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Although
he's got enough. Well, he's got. It's like Costas back in the day. I used to lose to him. Now I lose to Ernie. But maybe one of these days, or I'll just be Susan Lucci. It's fine.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start? I was on with my dear friend here in D.C.
Yes.
Who has a podcast, and he said that the story of the weekend's Tiger Woods, and I said, hold on.
I'm with you. I know where you're going.
The guy that's number one in the world, who's won 3 of his last 5 events, shows up and wins. That's the story of the weekend. Now, if you want to tell me the overarching headline was Tiger, I'm not arguing. We certainly, our ratings benefited. I'm sure CBS's will have as well. And Tiger is a massive story. But Scottie Scheffler winning is the headline, and rightly so. You win, and you're the headline.
Well, I'm with you, and I figured, again, who better to have on than you to tell me who this guy is and where all this came from, right? I mean, middle of February, nobody had any idea that this could be happening.
No.
Right?
Here's what's interesting is that, and God, these last couple of years, because of the way things have happened, and it's so easy to forget when and where and what, right? Because it's just this fog. And in November 2020, when the Masters was played then, I went over. No one was there. It's empty. And I went over to introduce myself to Scottie because I hadn't met him. But prior to that, in August at the PGA Championship in Harding Park out in San Francisco, he played brilliantly and was in the final group. And it was just obvious that even though he was new to the stage, something about him, the way he carried himself. He was young, but he felt mature. Now, I don't want to say old, just felt very mature. And so I just walked over, and he was coming off the 18th, and I said, hey, and we BS for a few minutes. And I just said, man, you're going to be out here a long time and have a blast and be great. You're going to win a ton. And because I said it because I thought it. And he hadn't yet. And then in Phoenix he wins, and then he wins in Orlando at Bay Hill, and then he wins a match play, so that's a completely different deal. And now he wins a major. And so I think in the game, Rich, people thought he was a dude. Like, he had it. He was going to be a guy. And then in the Ryder Cup, too, I don't want to miss that. He dueled with, I think, John Rahm there and beat the then world number one and just put on a show. And so at every turn, he's shown that he had the goods. But for it all to happen at warp speed, and to ramp up to number one and then win as world number one and to win the way he did, that's the kind of stuff that makes you have to really stop and ask, all right, well, what are we talking about? What type of trajectory are we on? Trajectory. I can't do it.
Trajectory.
Emmy nominee Scott Van Pelt can't say trajectory.
We're all together. I'm there for you.
I want you to see the sentence structure.
Yes,
what kind of a trajectory are we on?
Well
See, it was like an Elmer Fudd thing that happened there.
Mm-hmm. We got through
stuck. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is he's good, and he's really playing some good golf, Rich. I want to tell you.
But again, like I know he's from Jersey, right? And he's a Longhorn, like I guess many other terrific professionals who wear green jackets are, right? And so, right?
Texas kid, like the story goes that he used to show up at the golf course wearing long pants in the summer because he wanted to carry himself like a tour pro, and that's how he visualized himself. That's how he saw himself, and kind of spoke it into existence, if you will. I mean, it's just the way, and this is, I'm not in no way is it critical. It's different. I really like Collin Morikawa. He lives in Vegas. He's not flashy. He's incredibly composed too. Guy from Cal. really mature. But I think he's got a little bit. There's just a little bit more something, a little more, and that's style, but just maybe feels like he could be got a big personality that he can show you, right? That bright smile that lights up a room. Justin Thomas, he's got a whole bunch of swagger and on a big stage, loves it, wants to strut on a big stage. Scottie Scheffler feels more like a guy that's just sort of gives you a nod and a smile, and not a whole lot more. He's about the work, and the results speak for themselves. It's not unexpected that he's won, but look, no one expects someone to win 4 out of 6 starts and go from not ranked number one to a pretty strong grip on it.
Well, I when I said he's a Jersey kid, he was born in New Jersey. I'm aware he went to a high school that I guess others went to, like Matthew Stafford. Is it true Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw were on the same team too?
That's the first I'd heard that mentioned. What an amazing coinky-dink.
Yeah, did you know Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard too? Are you aware of that, Scott?
Did he?
Yeah.
Jerome Bettis, was it back to where he was from?
Yeah.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, in Detroit. That's where he was from. I'm just throwing these things out
sleuth.
there.
You're a sleuth, Rich Eisen.
We're just trying to put pieces together. We're just all puzzle makers right here. Scott Van Pelt on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, and the holdouts from the side bunker on 18 with McIlroy and Morikawa, that was some of the most outstanding Masters moments I've seen in a long time. That got me off the couch. That was awesome.
And we needed it. We needed it because Scheffler had put a stranglehold on the tournament to such a degree that you're looking for something. That was awesome just because Rory is a guy who, as we all know, needs the Masters to finish the Slam, and for whatever reason has just gotten off to poor starts, and it's kind of baffling as to why. And in the game, this is not a criticism by any stretch, but when he starts playing well on the weekend, it's just the old, here comes Rory for another backdoor top 10. Well, he's played so well on the weekends where he hasn't been part of the storyline, and then you look back at the results and you go, oh, wow, he did finish top 10. He wasn't part of the main fabric of the story. Well, yesterday was different because not only did he play well enough to become top 10, but he was playing well enough that you had to entertain the thought that if something went wrong with Scheffler, well, maybe he could post a score. And then when he holds out on 18, and the place goes berserk, and then Morikawa matches it, and the reaction of those two with one another, right? Like Rory was cheering him on the same way Morikawa was cheering on Rory, and then McIlroy had that I don't know what to do with my hands thing. I don't know what happened. It was like the club ejected from his hands. He just kept what are you doing with your hands, bro? What is this thing you're doing? But it was spectacular. Morikawa told me afterwards, I've never heard a roar like that. And then he heard another one because it was for him. It was tremendous. And again, those are two great talents. But it speaks to what Scheffler did over the course of 3.5 days. That in terms of who's going to win and lose, it didn't make any difference.
It was just a nice footnote to Sandy birdies like that, So Scott Van Pelt here.
How about that? You go bunker to bunker and hole out, and you don't win the hole with when you're settling up with your buddy. You're like, we have the hole, bud.
Right, and then one of them caps a 64 on Sunday with it and doesn't even come within shots of the tournament.
That speaks to Scheffler's brilliance. He came down to Butler Cabin on Friday, and it was he hadn't won from the lead. And it's wild how in sports, not just golf, but certainly in golf, that playing with the lead, there's a burden to that. There's something about being freed up when you're chasing, and you saw that from McIlroy, right? Like you take on shots maybe you wouldn't otherwise. And I said to Scotty, look, you won in Phoenix and you won in Orlando trailing. I'm not trying to say there's anything bad about leading by 5, obviously, but it's just different. And I think he spoke to that after he won, that when he woke up Sunday, he was emotional. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for this because that place is different, man. Like, you win that, and you're different for the rest of your life. You're a Masters champion. And I thought it was interesting to hear him so honestly share what the weight of that is, that just the expectation, because we've seen people stumble, certainly, famously in that spot, and he didn't. And at such a young age to kind of wobble a bit early and then, steady himself and win, I think it's just, from start to finish, it's just a hell of a show from the young man.
Scott Van Pelt here on the Rich Eisen Show, fresh back from Augusta National. Great coverage on ESPN, CBS, the whole family covering the Masters. So let's get into Tiger. Any idea what he did between rounds to get ready. I mean, that Saturday, it was 50 degrees outside. Just a crusher for any human being, let alone somebody his age coming back from what he was coming back from. Do you have like what was his regimen? Do you have the old flowering peach hyperbaric chamber or something like that? Like, what do you have? What was it?
Let me just start just with the hardest thing for people in our business to ever say. I don't know. I don't know specifically. He doesn't connect all the dots for us. He did mention a lot of ice baths and how much they suck. I'm quoting him directly. And they're just trying to reduce swelling because he's not that far removed from this horrific injury to his leg. And you saw it take its toll over the course of the 4 days. And as you point out, Saturday was legitimately not just cold for Augusta. It was a cold day. The wind, it was just felt like a fall football day, like an Ann Arbor, Saturday in November. It felt like that. And so he's managing more than most. But I don't know the specifics. I think what's most interesting coming out of it is another question we don't know the answer to, and that's when will we see him again? I think, look, it's no secret PGA's on our network. It'd be great for us if he's on, just because obviously people turn up to see him. If he doesn't, maybe the U.S. Open, but he did say he'd play the Open at St. Andrews, which is his favorite course in the world. So that's good news. If nothing else, we know we've got one more major to see him. But it's clear there's a lot of work to do for him to physically get that leg stronger, so that it's not such a challenge for him just to get around for 18.
So maybe we see him before then. But what I mean, all in all, though, just the mere fact that he did it, made the cut. At one point Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, he had a putt to share the lead, right?
He was in the mix for, I don't know, because I don't remember where Im was in relation to where Tiger was, but I mean, he was under par. He shot 71, which totally meant we had to rethink what might happen.
Right.
And then look, you've covered the guy for years too, prior to changing hats and becoming the face of the NFL Network. I mean, you remember that there was no world in which 78 on the weekend in a major would be greeted with a giant smile and him saying he was thankful.
Right.
But that's what you saw Sunday, and I thought that was really a window into what the week was about for him. I'm back. I'm trying. I'm in the arena. Played one good round. Now I just got to figure out how to get around for 3 more days, and he did. And in the end, was he close to winning? No, but the genuine joy I felt like you saw from him, and the reception he got from the patrons there at Augusta National. And I feel like, people all around the world, like they're sitting on their couch smiling, going, right on. This dude's back in it, and that's more than we thought not that long ago.
How big is Butler Cabin? How big is that thing?
Not enormous. Not enormous. It's but big enough for the people that need to be in there.
But what is it normally? Just like some folks who are done with a round, they go hang out in the cabin, or
no, it's a cabin for members to stay if you're on property when you go down to be there. But it's just insane, Rich. I mean, we've known each other a long, long time.
Yeah,
and it's just so hard to explain. I'm sure you have those moments in your life, in your work, where you just look around and you shake your head and you think, "Wow, here I sit," right? I mean, it's 3 Eastern and the Masters comes on the air and you're the one talking. And it's just absolutely absurd. So Tiger's not the only guy thankful down there that week, that's for sure. You're sitting in there for 2 days and that's the office. And it's just such a joy to do it.
So, I mean, not to pry, but I'll do it anyway. So if, like, say you need a pen, do you go searching through drawers in case Bill Gates left one from a few weeks ago or something like? Seriously, like, what is it? There's furniture, there's a bed, is that what it is?
They've moved everything out of the way so that there are just the chairs that you see there in front of the fireplace, and then what the camera doesn't see is how it is in any studio. It's all the things that make it work, right? The lights, there's monitors that you can watch. The action, there's leaderboards that are telling you what's happening on every single hole that are just, in your sight line beyond the cameras.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll just put it this way.
Yes.
If you needed anything, someone would sort that out for you rather quickly.
You have to go rummaging through the place?
No, I'm like, where the hell's the pen? I need a piece of paper. You give me the paper.
Right, and then all of a sudden, some member strolls in, like, "What are you doing in here, Scott?" Like, you don't want to
none of that. I stay. I try to keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise, my man. I stay where I'm meant to be. You know? I don't wander off into the second cut. I stay right here, and I don't go searching. But you don't need to. Everything's right where you need it.
Of course.
You know what's so cool about that place is Cam Smith comes in after the first round, and the guy's just played this brilliant round. He's 68, 4 under. And after we got done, and he looks at me, and he's this super understated guy, and he says, "Mate, I've never been more nervous in my life." And I thought, I mean, that's Butler Cabin. You know, the idea is, since he's been playing the game, he thought, someday I'll get down there. Sadly for him, it was Thursday with me and not Sunday with Nance, but maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Scott, you're the man. Thanks again. I'll see you in New York Emmy night, if not sooner. You're the best. Thanks, pal.
I appreciate you, my man. I'll see you soon, B, and thanks for having me in.
Anytime. Thank you. That's Scott Van Pelt here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.